When we left the story in part 7, I was camped at the amazing Salmon Glacier. It was just as well, however, that I took my drone footage and pictures the previous evening, because this morning the weather was completely socked in.
It's pretty cold and sleety this morning. Camped out here at the Salmon Glacier overlook, and boy am I glad I got my pictures and drone footage yesterday, because today it's just a whiteout, miserable day. Endless Trail Expeditions, back to you in the studio.
Those that know me know I also enjoy old Land Rovers, and upon spying this vehicle in front of someone's house, I stopped to take pictures. My friend Ike Goss has a business restoring and providing parts for these vintage expedition machines, and indeed months later, after I discussed this vehicle with him, Ike went and tracked the owner down, made a deal, and then drove from Oregon to Prince William to pick up his purchase. While filling up with diesel at a First Nation fuel station, I was able to enjoy bannock, the native Indian dough bread, for the first time. I was also shown an extremely warm hat and a pair of real bearskin gloves. That afternoon, I discovered a beautiful spot besides a lake to camp. After positioning Bat, I quickly grabbed my chair along with a beer and sat around thoroughly enjoying the beautiful scene. Later, as I was preparing dinner, I could see a girl on a horse ride into the lake. It was quite a restful scene, as the horse obviously enjoyed the cool water after what I assume was a long ride. While heading south from Prince George, I was recommended to take a break at a place called the Sugar Shack and try some poutine. Poutine is a strange mix of French fries, cheese curds and gravy, to which you can optionally add meat if you so choose. It's definitely not a friend of your heart, but I tried it and checked it off the list. The following evening's campsite was also a delightful spot. Nestled beside another beautiful lake, I enjoyed a pre-dinner cold beer. All too soon the following day, I was back on the road heading south, making my way on Highway 1 through a spectacular river valley to the US border crossing at Lyndon, BC. After an uneventful border crossing, I finally arrived at my friend Dave Anderson's house in Washington State. Dave was a helicopter pilot trainer and had many interesting stories to tell. Dave and I had met on the internet and have LMTVs in common. We spent an enjoyable evening talking trucks and overland travel, and then the following morning we enjoyed breakfast at a local restaurant and toured his father's extraordinary collection of self-built carousel horses. Out of the blue, I received a message from Scott George inviting me to camp with him and his wife on the beach, so off I went to meet them. However, shortly after the meeting, we were asked to come and rescue 2 vehicles that were stuck on the beach. So that we did, and then later that evening we enjoyed a great meal and good conversation. While in Portland, I stopped in to see the guys at Shielman and to meet Toby, the owner of the US distributorship. Tony was away on travel on my way up, so it was great to finally meet him and see what was going on there. Then it was off to see my friends Ike and Linus in Eugene, Oregon. Linus took me for a drive in a car from his vintage collection, and we generally potted around and had some fun. All too soon, I arrived at my final campsite for the trip, a very cold and dreary Pismo Beach, California. While the evening was cool and damp, I did meet 2 lovely families camped by me, and we spent that evening chatting and enjoying some beers round the fire. And the following morning I was invited to a breakfast of chilaquiles. I hope I pronounced that correctly. The chilaquiles were so delicious that I even had seconds. Finally, it was time to say goodbye, and I was off to my final destination, Thousand Oaks, California. After such a long trip, one feels a little out of water upon arriving home. So that evening I slept not in my house, but continued in bed for at least a couple more nights.